Germany was transformed. People begin to change. It was all done through demonization. The one word that really describes this whole thing. Demonization of a whole group of people. And how is it possible that hundreds of thousands of people, ordinary people, were involved in executing millions of people?
Irving Roth was great to have at Harvard University because it first brings humility to a world where politics control the narrative. Everybody seems to be wanting to divide us on either side of the aisle, and like he said in his speech, divide people by separating political beliefs, calling each other names, being mean to people just because of their personal beliefs and how they were raised.
Besides the fact that his life experience as a Holocaust survivor is a miraculous experience.
There might not be a single Holocaust survivor left to give a firsthand telling of what happened, because we're pretty much the last generation that gets to see this. And I want to just spread this opportunity to students. They're the last witnesses.
We're just having an event. Just wanted to invite you guys as Holocaust survivors today. There's a Holocaust survivor that's coming to Science Building. That's today. Yeah, just check it out.
We need to know the history. This is why you're here. After all, this is the institution of America. You have to carry the truth.
There's a one-sided narrative on campus. People will only hear about Apartheid Week and BDS, right? And that becomes the narrative, and the longer you let that go on, it becomes an extreme opinion to believe anything other than that.
The opportunity of being here as students and possibly future opinion makers adds up historical content to our knowledge and gives us concrete proof that we still need, and we really need, to engage in pro-Israel issues still in the present day.
People are transformed. And that, my friends, is what made it possible to continue the oppression of the Jews. Because people participated in it. They thought it was perfectly okay.
So our chapter advisor is Professor Alan Dershowitz, the famous defender of Israel. You can probably recognize him on most TV channels and especially news. And he's always been fighting for Israel. But what we love about Professor Dershowitz as our student advisor is that not only is he willing to help the students come together, but he's helping the world come together.
The idea of bringing Dershowitz on board, that came almost as a radical side thought that nobody thought was going to be reality.
We were very lucky to have him support our organization because he is a vocal and powerful advocate for Israel and the Jewish community, both on campus and in the United States, and I mean across the world, really.
If you look at Israel, you see a trend. Whatever they're facing, the stabbings, car rammings, suicide bombings, those soon become a Western issue shortly after. So I think Israel's behaving kind of like the front lines for Western civilization. If you look at the Bible, you can see that talk of Israel, of a chosen people, begins at least as early as Genesis 12, and it continues ceaselessly, without fail, to the very end. So if it matters that much to God, who seems to be thoroughly obsessed with Israel, it's going to matter to me.
For those who are not Christians, I think that just the fact that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, I mean, that should be sufficient, right? Women have rights, Muslims can live there, and Christians actually thrive in Israel, which is pretty different from the neighbor countries, right? And I think that should be enough for most people.
I support Israel because Israel supports unity, again, in a divided world. It brings all faiths together. That's what we need more than ever in the leader of the world, America, and the leader of the Middle East, Israel, is to shine the light on all the division and bring everybody together. The world needs that more than ever.
The Middle East is a complex region. The question of Palestine and Israel is complex, and it cannot be summarized by screaming college students just saying there's apartheid or there's BDS. There's really needs to be a nuanced discussion, which is what we try to do as an organization. Bring another side to that conversation and allow all voices to be heard.
I feel that a lot of university students, they don't know or they just ignore the reasons for a pro-Israel movement to exist. This movement is not a conflict maker. This movement is a peacemaker. And that's why I think this is so important to have Irving Roth coming here to Harvard.
You have to be able to analyze the news media. And when they lie, do something about it. You've got to know history. You've got to know the facts. Because human beings are vulnerable to words. This has been done once. It can be done again. To understand, to know, and fight it. From a position of knowledge. Not enough from a position of anger. We need to know above all. So my plea to you is prevent it. Please, prevent it.